Welcome to the George Mason Basketball Coaches Show. I'm your host, Bill Rowland, along with the head coach of the men's basketball team, Tony Skinn. We've got a great show lined up for you tonight. We're going to talk about the Patriots' recent two-game winning streak, also an upcoming game against top 25 Dayton. And our special guest tonight is the freshman Baraka Okoje joining us. That'll come up in the second segment. Coach, let's go ahead and dive right into it. It's always good to talk good news, so we can talk two-game winning streak. You guys went down to Davidson, got a 57-55 really tough, hard-nosed victory down there. Also got a home victory against GW. Take me back to the Davidson game. And it's been a while because you guys have been off, but 57-55, you got a big contribution from your bench on a night again. You played both those games without your starting guard Darius Maddox, but you got out a victory, and you got big contributions both from Malik Henry but also Trey Wood.
Yeah, no, it was I thought that with the way we lost, at home to Loyola Chicago, who's playing is just as good as anybody else in this league right now. It was a critical moment for us to kind of get that win back on the road. And, obviously Davidson's a really, really good team, but to go down there without your one of your best players in Darius Maddox, I knew it would be a tough game. But again, the level of commitment that we've just kind of had throughout the season with just different guys, I needed a couple guys to step up, and we had multiple guys step up. Trey stepped up. Obviously, Austin Ball, who continues to play well, he stepped up, and Malik gave us life. And anytime you can have that type of contribution, you got a chance, and that's what happened.
You got 6 points, 8 rebounds from Malik, and you got 12 from Trey Wood, who that was his season high with the team. So that was great to see. And they kind of kept you afloat until Keyshawn Hall took over in the second half.
Yeah, no, again, credit to obviously everybody's familiar with Malik, but credit to Trey Wood. One of the things that I've been happy with him about was just his spirit and his energy. When you're a fifth-year guy, you got 1 year left, it's hard to stay committed throughout the season. But he's always been locked in, and I talked to him the night before the game and told him, hey, listen, you got a chance to play. I need you to bring the energy that you bring in practice against Davidson, and believe it or not, in practice, he's one of the tougher guards in our practice every single day, night in, night out. There's a reason why Baraka's who he is today, and so he stepped up to the plate. And anytime you have that type of leadership from an older guy, every once in a while he's able to chip in, and that's what he did against Davidson.
And then GW guys get 32 more points off the bench after getting 26 against Davidson, but GW game, almost an exact flip of the first time when we went there to play, and you guys struggled to make shots and couldn't get going on offense. Boy, it was totally different here at Eagle Bank Arena this last time out. You guys came out on fire, and it was a 9-0 start from the jump and kind of coasted to a 90-67 win. That had to feel good after you played so tough over there at their place to kind of give one back to them.
Yeah, no, it was one of those games. I don't think our guys forgot that game. It's become a rivalry, and the message in that game was to take it personal. Obviously, we did that in the first couple possessions, but anytime you see the ball go in early like that from a couple guys, it's going to be a long night for the opponents. And credit to GW, they're down with some injuries, and I just thought our energy level from the first 4 minutes really set the tone in that game, and we were just a hard team to keep up with for 40 minutes.
It was impressive because you guys played that game again without Darius Maddox. 2 straight games you didn't play without him. Now, down at Davidson, it was kind of a where's the offense going to come from? And we talked about Trey giving a big jump off the bench and everything. But in this game without Darius, you guys didn't miss a beat at all. It was everybody hitting shots from the go.
Yeah, no, we did it by committee. And again, Darius was day-to-day. I just thought for the longevity of the rest of our season, it was important to not throw him out there, especially against the Davidson team where you're guarding cuts all day long, and that's not good for a bad left ankle. And so these guys stepped up, and these guys are capable of making shots just like Darius is, and that's what happened.
When you look at playing without him and getting the contributions, a lot of times coaches at this time of the year are starting to shrink the rotation a little bit. You guys have had to expand the rotation a little bit. Is that a plus as you go down here the last 6 games of the conference in the 8-10 tournament where you go, hey, you know what? I can actually go 8, 9, 10 deep.
Yeah, no, it's a good problem to have. It's one that, it keeps me up at night. I'm just trying to figure out how to balance the guys that have, really been there for us for the last, 25 games versus some of the guys who haven't really had their opportunity. But, just having the confidence in them to be able to go in the game to help us out. Obviously, freshmen are going to be freshmen, but I can't say enough about Austin Ball and what he's been able to do in some of the spotty minutes. And he's shown that we've got to find a way to put him on the floor. And then different games are going to, present different type of situations, and it's going to always allow certain guys to play more minutes for sure.
A couple of nice moments in the post game, separately between Coach Caputo over at GW and yourself. You could see the mutual respect that you guys have for each other for your time here as a player from 03 to 06 when he was an assistant coach. It was just nice because neither one of you heard what the other had said, but it was both of you saying what a great time it was to be at that point on the same team, if you will, together.
Yeah, no, I mean that's part of my basketball family. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for guys like Chris Caputo, who's also been somebody in the business over the last couple of years I've gotten close to. And again, I said it before we played them at GW, if I had to take one L in this league, it would be to GW, but I just made sure that I returned that favor.
There you go. 1-1, so it's an even split.
Yeah, so
right
even
now.
split.
The guest coming up is Brock Okoje, your freshman point guard. He was the one that was inserted in the starting line of the last 2 games with Darius out. Kind of give me, if you can, we got a minute or so, give me an assessment of where Brock has been since when he first came on campus to now.
Yeah, I think the overall development that we're seeing, it's been brewing from game to game. He gives us something that we just don't typically have, which is his speed. His burst, being able to get to the free throw line better than anybody I can say today, better than anybody else in the country. But what he's gotten better at really is just the pace and just making sure he knows where different guys are in different parts of our offense. And he's really taken ownership on the other side defensively. Again, we give the hard hat to Jarrett Billups because he does such a good job defensively. But if you're watching Brock Okoje, he's right behind him defensively, and he's just really stepped up on both sides of the floor, and I'm happy for his growth.
Yeah, and he's leading the team in steals right now as well, so that kind of shows you how good he is, either on or off the ball, of picking steals. Think about the Rhode Island game, kind of a change of the way that game was going with the steals in the second half of that ball game. So looking forward to talking to Brock Okoje coming up here in our second segment. It's head coach Tony Skinn here on the George Mason Basketball Coaches Show. We're live from Velocity Wings here as we take a look at the season. 6 games left to go here before the A-10 tournament. We're going to talk about all that coming up in our final segment with Coach. But coming up next, Brock Okoje, the freshman point guard, will join us right here on the George Mason Basketball Coaches Show. Welcome back to the George Mason Basketball Coaches Show. I'm Bill Rohn along with our special guest, Brock Okoje. Before we get to Brock, I want to thank Velocity Wings for having us out here as our new location for the Coaches Show with Tony Skinn. Velocity Wings located at University Mall right on Braddock Road across from George Mason University. Be sure to stop by Velocity Wings for all the award-winning wings, mouth-watering burgers, and quintessential game day bites that always come in clutch. And speaking of coming in clutch, the freshman Brock Okoje joining me, 7.4 points a game, second on the team in assists with 53, first in steals with 34. You heard your head coach, kind of assessed where you started from to where you are now. Fair assessment, or what do you think?
Pretty fair. I mean, those are the nicest words he said to me in a long time. Usually very hard on me in practice and games, but I think it's pretty fair, yeah.
You've started the last 2 games with Darius Maddox out with an injury.
Yeah.
How does that change your prep? Because before you were able to maybe sit on the bench, kind of absorb, see how the game's going, how tight or how loose, the officiating is calling. Did it change your prep at all to be in the starting lineup rather than coming off the bench?
It definitely changed my prep a little bit. Usually I got comfortable in my role of coming off the bench around the 16, 15, 14-minute mark to see how the game is being played. But I knew starting, I would have to bring the energy straight from the jump. And my main thing was just not trying to fill Darius' shoes because Darius does so much for our team, but just try to be myself and be the best version of myself out there to start the game.
You grew up in Canada, played high school ball down in Florida. Yeah. Now you're playing college ball here in Fairfax. Mm-hmm. Talk to me about all the different areas that basketball has taken you to.
One of the best advice that somebody gave me when I was young was let basketball take you places. I've been all over the world with basketball, being privileged to play for Team Canada, going to places like Spain, Mexico, Slovenia. So just being able to play all across the world, all across the country, and see the different play styles and stuff like that was huge for my development, and I always cherish it for sure.
How cool is it to play when you put on, obviously you have your high school jersey, we have your George Mason jersey here behind us, but to put on your country's jersey, that's got to be pretty big deal, right?
It didn't hit us, to be honest, till we actually got to the locations. Me and my teammates talk about it all the time. But it was surreal, definitely, because you think about it, you're representing your whole country, and flying in and flying back, people look at you and just say thank you for no reason. So it was a pretty surreal moment. Took a while to really dig into how serious it was, but it was fun for sure.
Canadian basketball has gotten much better over the past, I would say, 15, 20 years. Now you guys have all sorts of NBA All-Stars to look up to.
Yeah.
Who are some of your favorite guys when you were growing up, or even now that you may look up to that are Canadian players?
I say my brother. My brother, he plays at Howard right now. That's my biggest inspiration. I love him to death, and he gave me a whole lot of inspiration. Playing up with him made me a lot better as a player. I say in terms of NBA, RJ Barrett, he's from the same city where I grew up in, so just following his footsteps. He played for the Brampton Warriors as I did, so I use that as motivation. And then Shea, obviously, just his game, the way he carries himself, and everything like that is it's inspirational, and I like to view it as motivation for sure.
You talk about your brother is playing; he's a year ahead of you, playing over at Howard. How often do you get a chance to either to go over to see him play, or even just meet up for maybe a dinner or something? How often do you guys get to see each other?
We haven't got to link up just yet. You know, neither of us have a car, and it's pretty hard to travel with both of our busy schedules. But
Right.
We're gonna do that for sure, definitely after the season. And I know he's watching all my games, and I'm watching all of his games. So we're supporting, but from a distance.
When you're getting ready for a game, you throw on either the headphones, the earbuds, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Give me some people that are on your playlist. What's hot right now? How often do you change it, or do you have your same playlist, same routine going through everything before a game?
To be honest, I kind of just put my playlist on shuffle. Lil Baby, Rod Wave, a whole lot of stuff like that. But recently, before games, I've been listening to gospel music to just calm me down a little bit and help bring God into the situation, because I know I go out there and play for him. So just definitely doing that has been a big change, and I've been playing a lot better since.
Is that something where a lot of players are now more trying to get the calming to be able to relax yourself before a game rather than the hype getting you too ramped up before a game? Which, have you changed that? Was it before where you were trying to get the hype music and now have gone the other way with it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for me, it depends on the player, because me, I'm a high energy guy, and sometimes, as Coach said, the biggest thing for me is sometimes to slow down. So I kind of learned that throughout the season to start the games, just slow myself down and read before I try and do a million in a minute. So.
All right, we're here at Velocity Wings, so I
Yeah.
got to ask you, it doesn't have to necessarily be your pregame meal, because, we got your people out there that are watching, be like, I hope Rocket's not doing that before games, but what's your go-to wing? You a hot guy, you a mild guy? What are you doing with the wings?
Honey barbecue. I like sweet rather than spicy, to be honest. I'm not a big spice guy, but I'd probably say honey barbecue is my go-to.
All right. In the post-game press conference after the GW game, Keyshawn and Austin Ball were the two players that were in there, and I found it fascinating. They were asked about Jared Billups. And Keyshawn Hall, and I had not heard this nickname before, Keyshawn said that you guys called Jared Billups Captain America.
Yeah.
Is that the best nickname on the team? Because I hadn't heard that one, and I got to tell you, it's a pretty cool nickname.
Yeah, we call him Cap. He's the strongest. He lifts all the big weights and takes all the defensive tasks. So we call him Cap. But it's either that or Big J Haynes with Slime. It's either those are the two nicknames that are pretty prominent on the team. So it's either Slime for Big J Haynes or Cap.
What would they've given you? Have they
Just B.O.
B.O.?
Nothing too crazy.
Simple, straight to the point,
Yeah, nothing
right?
too crazy. Yeah.
You guys have 3 more home games coming up. Big one against Dayton coming up on Wednesday. How important is it to have the students and the fans out there in that arena?
It should be big. Hopefully, we go out there and perform the way we know we can, and play our game and win. But we need the support of the fans, because there are 6 men out there on the court. So I believe if they pop out, we'll return the favor.
All right, Barack, we appreciate you stopping by. Good luck Wednesday. Not only Wednesday, but for the rest of the season
Yes, sir.
as well. We appreciate it. Again, the freshman point guard Baraka Kojay join us here on the George Mason Basketball Coaches Show. Coming up next, Tony Skinn will join us. We will look at that Dayton game coming up on Wednesday. Welcome back to the George Mason Basketball Coaches Show. I'm Bill Rohn, along with the head coach of the Patriots, Tony Skinn. Once again, we want to thank Velocity Wings for supporting us and having us out here to do the show tonight. They are located right across from the George Mason campus on Braddock Road in University Mall. Stop by and see them again. We appreciate them hosting us for the Coaches Show. All All right, Coach, before we get to Dayton, you got to hear a little bit of what Baraka said. We were talking to him about nicknames. You guys calling Jared Billups Captain America. I said that's one of the coolest nicknames I think that they've had on the team. He said it's something simple. Everybody just calls him B.O., but you were telling me earlier you got a couple of nicknames for him sometimes in practice. Some of the best coaches in the NBA of all time. Explain to me why you call him Pop.
Yeah, so
Some of the other.
so Baraka Okogie is barely 18. I believe he turned 18 in the summer, so he's going through his freshman year as an 18-year-old, youngest guy in our locker room. And for whatever reason, whether it's in practice, whether it's in the game, he always has a suggestion. And I didn't catch on until, I would say maybe, once we started practicing, and I just noticed it was, but coach, what do you think about this? Well, we could do this. And so I just started calling him different coaches in the game of basketball. One day I'm calling him Greg Popovich. Another day I'm calling him Red Auerbach, because again, he just always has something to say. And the other day I saw him and Jared walking in the towards the locker room right before practice, and they were walking together. And I just I said, what's up, Ron Artest and Pop. So he's always got an answer, man. I think he's got coaching in his future for sure. So depending on what day of the week, he's a coach.
That's pretty good nicknames for him. All right, let's talk about this game coming up against Dayton on Wednesday night. Nationally ranked Flyers coming in. You guys have had basically a week to prepare for them. You played last Tuesday against GW. In this week, have you used it to kind of rest up? Have you kind of given the guys, backed off a little bit? It is that time of the year where you got a little nagging injury, some soreness. How have you prepped over the last week?
No, it's worked out in our favor again as we try to get Darius Maddox healthy, being able to win at Davidson, and then obviously taking care of business against GW. If you know anything about a sprained ankle, 7 to 10 days is huge, and just getting back the confidence that you need to be able to do what you need to do. And so that's what that's done for us. Again, it's that time of the year where, as much as prep is important, the body and just being as healthy as you can be down the stretch is just as important. So we had a couple of days off. We ended up still having a 3-day prep for Dayton, but it's been a good couple of days. We just needed to just be able to kind of press the reset button for our most important part of our season.
How much do you tinker with things this time of the year, or is it more fine-tuning rather than actually changing this, changing that, trying to put in new things?
Not much. We've been pretty successful in the things that our foundation from an offensive and a defensive standpoint. And again, it's always different, regardless of the time of the year, based on an opponent, and just being a little bit more focused personnel-wise with who we have to play next game.
When you look at Dayton coming in, kind of give me a rundown. Obviously, it's pretty simple. They're a top 25 team. They're in line for perhaps even a top 4 seed in the upcoming NCAA tournament here when we get to March. Give me kind of a 1,000-foot view, if you will, of this Dayton Flyer team.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we play for. Anytime you have a chance to host arguably the best team in our conference, one of the better teams in the country, it's all about the opportunity and just getting prepared for it. Obviously, they do some really, really good things. They're one of the better teams in the country in shooting the three, something we've struggled with. But they've also struggled in the last 2 games and been held to a season low from the three-point line. But then again, they also have arguably one of the best players in the country in Deron Holmes. And, those 2 things are going to be critical for us to play well on Wednesday.
I'm going to take you out of your coach's role here real quick. I know you had a son that was playing high school basketball. That has to be, I would imagine at times, a difficult thing to take the coaching hat off and put the parent hat on. What's that adjustment been like as he's gone through now this first year of high school basketball?
Honestly, I'm not sure why I have so much hair on my head, because he gives me anxiety. But it's definitely, he's a competitor. I've never wavered or put any pressure on him. He's kind of, he's fell in love with the game on his own, and he puts so much pressure on himself. But he's done well. He's got a chance to be a pretty good player, and he's just trying to find his way. You probably can see him on campus. He's at the rack. He's at, EBA, just always constantly working on his game. But it's definitely one of those things where I try to not put as much pressure on him. I see it as a coach when we recruit certain guys, and just some of the pressures that come from, whether sometimes it's moms and sometimes it is dad. I don't put that pressure on them. I just try to teach him as much as I can. And, he's been fortunate that he's been around, some high level players and kind of understand just the full picture of what it's about.
Is he in the point guard realm, that type of thing? Is he more of an off guard? Where would you put his?
He's definitely got my blood because he's trying to figure out how to be a little bit more of a passer. He's a combo guard. I think he's figuring out the position, but again, unless something drastic happens here, he's only about 5'11", 6 foot, so he's gonna have to figure out the position for sure.
All right, very good. 3 more chances to see your team coming up. Obviously, Dayton on Wednesday, then we go on a couple of game road trip before you come back here. 6 games left. It's crunch time.
No, it's it's that part of the year. Again, we started the conference play with 2 wins. We then hit a glitch and lost 3. We then bounced back and won 2 more. And then we hit a glitch and lost 3 again. And we just had these 2 wins against Davidson and GW. And so it's one of those times in a year where, we've got to grow up and we've got to figure some things out. And it's not a better way to do it than against a really good Dayton team at home.
And hopefully we'll get to W. We'll see everybody out there on Wednesday. Coach, thank you for your time as always.
Absolutely.
Thanks to Baraka Koje for joining us as well. Thanks to Velocity Wings for hosting us. This has been the George Mason Basketball Coaches Show with head coach Tony Skinn. I'm Bill Rowland. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you out at Eagle Bank Arena.
Thank you.